What's going on, Articulated Ninja here, and this is just my version of the truth. You don't have to agree with it. You might agree with it, you might not. I don't really care. I'm not here to change your mind. I just get a lot of messages on Instagram or people asking me how I feel about it, so I'd like to send them a video instead of having to write it out. But let me start this off by saying I don't hate Hasbro. Actually, majority of my collection is Hasbro products. Just because I really love Hasbro, Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe Classified, Fortnite, whatever. Just because I like their products does not mean that I also have to like all of their business practices, like Haslab, which is their crowdfunding service. And yes, I don't like Hasbro having to crowdfund anything. To me, it's shady and unnecessary. It's just a cash grab. But I'm also smart enough to realize me not backing the project like I'm making a stand is only hurting myself. I'm missing out on a product that I otherwise would buy if it was at retail on the shelf. I'm only robbing myself based on the current numbers on the project. I'll explain. Hasbro, whatever brand you're talking about, any multi-million-dollar toy company, from Legends to Classified, whatever you're talking about, they don't care about how you feel. They might pretend to be your friend. They might say fans come first, but it's really not true. They started off this campaign by calling the backers imbeciles. Like, come on, guys. You actually think this company cares to listen to people crying? No. They will only listen to numbers and what people are buying. So I said, yo, let me not pledge right away, because maybe people will make a stand and make them sweat, and they'll be forced to throw in some good tiers that otherwise they did not want to have to throw in at all. The tiers that they didn't want to have to add into the project, but they had on standby just in case for an emergency, because I'm sure that they did. They plan ahead. So I said, let me not back it right away. Nope, didn't make a difference. In the first 8 hours, it was fully funded and then some. They broke records with this campaign. They set records with this campaign. They don't need to listen to us, and in most cases they don't. In most cases, they don't change any of their plans due to people crying or complaining. They change their plans due to sales and people not buying. That's all that matters to them, and I understand that. They're running a business. This is capitalism at its finest. I get it. This Haslab was funded in the first 8 hours. They don't need to sweeten the deal at all. They knew after the first few hours they was going to be sitting pretty nice by the end of the week. $1 billion company, let's say, multi-million-dollar minimum. You don't think that they have projection analysts that analyze all of this stuff? You don't think they have like feedback testing in groups that they figure out what's going to get a good reaction, what's going to get a negative one? Of course, they know what tiers are going to make us upset or happy. My point is, yes, I'm buying one. I enjoy the Classified line, and this will definitely be a staple in that line for anyone's collection. But I will not change my opinion on one of the biggest toy companies in the world using crowdfunding like they couldn't tool it and pay for cost upfront and just do a pre-order. If they didn't want to, if they was going to run the excuse that, hey, it would be too big for retail. There's evidence that that's BS too, because how many times are you walking down the toy aisle and there's huge playset boxes, some of them a little bit smaller than the Marvel Legends Sentinel box. But hey, that's neither here nor there. They could have still did a pre-order and just sold it on Hasbro Pulse. It didn't have to be crowdfunded. That's my point. Very similar to how DC Collectibles did that animated Batmobile a few years back. It had lights. It was huge. It was lengthwise, it was probably twice the size as this HISS tank. And then they did a Bat Jet, which hit 2 to 3 times the size of this project with no crowdfunding. It was just pre-orders. Comic book shops did pre-orders. Anybody, any big bad, anybody just put in pre-orders for it. But they paid for all of the cost up front. So to me, even though this was $300, $350 plus taxes, and even more if you're not in America or you're in Canada trying to order it, it's gonna be more. I do think overall, especially as the tiers keep going and we keep getting more unlockables, it is kind of worth it. Let me explain. I don't think the price should have been $300. This is an army building vehicle. I would have been more than enough happy. I would have threw my money at them if it would have been around $200 from the door. If it would have been around $200 with lights and everything, I would have threw my money at them. But to me, this is worth it because similar to the Sentinel, people will army build this. meaning on the secondhand market, there's resale value. People want more than one HISS tank on their shelf, 2 at minimum. Let's say Galactus, he is not an army builder, so most people get one and done. There's no army building potential there. People don't want multiples of Galactus for the most part. I wish that with the HISS tank they would have added a smaller towable vehicle that can be like attached on the back, like the Cobra ASP assault system pod. But even if they don't throw this in, there's still a lot of value here, with the price being $300 before shipping and taxes. We shouldn't even have to pay for shipping because the price is so high in the first place, but whatever. We're getting 3 figures so far with a bunch of accessories. Joe's by me are about $26 a piece, so that's about $80. This is just how I feel about it. So in my mind, now I have to deduct 80 from the 300, bringing us close to $220. See, now we're getting close to that 200 mark that I said it should have been started at. So now we're at $220 because we're getting a bunch of accessories and we're getting 3 figures. So you have to reduce that retail price of those 3 figures. Now, my original video, my 2 major gripes was that it was crowdfunded and it's a cash grab, and it being $300 plus shipping and taxes. And I said the closer to the price point we get it to $150 or $200, the better this thing looks, because people want to army build this. And now it's looking good to a lot of people that said that they didn't want it, or they're gonna act like they didn't see this coming. We all saw this coming. Haslab usually never shows the items that will be unlocked during the tiers from the start of their campaign. There's no different here. They're not listening to people crying and complaining. Their numbers are setting records. They don't care about the few hundred, if that, of people crying online when thousands are buying. Think about this, guys. You're running a multi-million-dollar business. Are you really that concerned with a few hundred people crying when thousands upon thousands are happy and buying? No, you're not going to care. You're not going to waste your time. And here's what they do. They always give the shitty tiers, the shitty unlockables first. It's all just a psychology tactic. They give us the shitty unlockables first, then we quote unquote cry and complain, and then the better tiers come later, and that makes us say, oh my God, they're listening. They're not. Why would they start it off with the female officer as the first unlockable? And then imagine that after the female officer, they give us a canopy cover? What is that? That's such a downgrade. Instead, we're going up the mountain, not down the mountain. We're going up the scale, not down the scale. So they're never going to start it off with amazing unlockables. It doesn't work like that in any project. It always starts off light, and then slowly the unlockables get better. That does not mean they're listening. This was all pre-planned. It's not, oh, they're listening now because they got bad feedback. They knew they were going to get bad feedback, obviously. They sat at a table and they put all the unlockables on the table and said, hey, which ones are people gonna like the most? Which ones are they gonna like the least? Let's place them in the appropriate order. This is what I went to school for, guys. This is basic business 101. The tiers that are AKA free giveaways would be the worst in the beginnings, knowing if the campaign is going to be successful, why give away the best right in the beginning? That's when you can show the worst, because those tiers are the easiest to hit first. Why give away the best first? And that's what they did. Tier 1, missiles. Whack! Should have been included. Tier 2, a classic canopy option. Whack! Should have been included. But it slowly got better. The canopy was better than the missiles. And now Tier 3, oh, an entire new female figure. Our first female figure troop builder in all of G.I. Joe Classified. An entire line with accessories that also go with the HISS tank. Oh my God, what a surprise. The tiers are getting better over time. That's basic marketing and business 101, guys. Don't fall for this. Don't fall into the group of people that actually believe Hasbro's listening. Shit, don't fall into Hasbro when they say the fans come first. No, they don't. They're not listening. This is all basic business tactics that make you feel like they're listening, feel like your feedback matters. Don't fall for them. It's going as planned. This is not, oh my God, they're listening. No, this is, anybody can see this. And I'm not upset about it. I understand it. This is capitalism. This is a business. In a business, you have to prioritize profits. So you have to get the max amount of profit that you possibly can. I get it. Now, I do think if no one would have backed it right away, or they wouldn't have reached their goal in less than 8 hours, they might have rearranged the order of certain reveals. those Hail Mary reveals that they don't really want to have to throw in unless they absolutely needed to and this campaign was struggling. Of course they have those on reserve, but there's no reason for them to put those out now because of how successful the campaign is. So I believe that everything that we're unlocking is just a part of the plan. They're not going to have to throw in another mini vehicle or something really amazing. They're not going to have to. The really amazing stuff was if they would have been struggling. They're not struggling. They are sitting nice. Better than nice. Shit. We had over a month to back this thing. I don't know why everybody felt the need to jump in right from the beginning. Like, damn. You can be one of the first ones. It doesn't mean that they're going to ship it out to you first. It doesn't work that way. We should have waited and made them sweat. This way they would feel like they would have to feel the pressure of feeling like they have to offer more, or they should have revealed the female officer from the beginning and just made them sweat a little bit. We didn't make them sweat at all. We made them laugh all the way to the bank. So yeah, now watch guys, it is very possible, mark my words, it is very possible that they're going to be like, oh, you know, as a thank you, we're listening to the fans and we're so happy, they're at, maybe once we hit past 16K backers, they will throw in a thank you item or a bonus tier unlock past 4. We have 4. They're going to throw in even something extra on top of that with how amazing this was going, and it's going to make us feel like, oh, they're listening and they're changing their plans based on us complaining. No, this is basic business 101, and we see it happen time and time again. If they truly care, if they truly was listening, this wouldn't have to be crowdfunded in the first place. But I'm cool, I'm not mad. I understand business and profit. I get it. Chase the max amount of profit margins that they can. But I'm not going to pretend this multi-million dollar, billion, whatever company is listening or cares. No, they only care about numbers. And their numbers are the greatest in history as of right now. In any crowdfunding history, yeah, their numbers are the greatest. So no, they don't care. So guys, if you think me with less than 10K subscribers or anybody with a few hundred people who don't back this or complain is sending a message, no, it's not. They received their message loud and clear. They're at the top of their game. If you think that you're sending a message by not backing this, then you don't get it. That's like, I'm not sending a message to McDonald's, a multi-billion-dollar company, by standing outside of McDonald's with a sign saying, hey, don't buy, I'm not buying. It means nothing to them. It would take, as a collective, the biggest toy influencers you can think of, from Shartimus to Foosh to Retro Blasting, every ACBA member, Toy Shiz, JC. It would take every toy influencer on the platform to really get them to change their plans. Retro Blasting by himself has made a stand against these companies. He's participated in these stands against these companies, especially when the community as a whole was making a stand. Like with the recent Jurassic Park stuff that Mattel tried to pull. Retro Blasting, Lore Legends, these people came together and made a collective stand, and it made a difference. That's not what's happening here, guys. That's not going to happen here. And the only time it would is if all these influencers came together and tried to make a stand. Then they'll listen. But even one of these YouTubers by themselves is not going to be able to make a stand by themselves. None of us have a following that big individually. We need to come together collectively. That was clear that wasn't happening here within the first 8 hours. Within the first 8 hours, that was clear that is definitely not what's going to happen here. And everybody has different levels of attachment to these products, brands, and different IPs, intellectual properties. But don't miss out on this because you think you're sending a message. Miss out on it because it's not for you, and that's totally fine. If it is for the people that want to buy it, let them buy it. Let them have fun. This is about action figure collecting. Bro, something that you can put a price on, maybe to someone else, they won't put a price on it. That's how I feel about Naruto action figures. I'm not going to put a price on a certain one. I paid ridiculous amounts for certain, and I understand not everybody's going to get that, and that's okay. That's for me, it's just not for you. But don't miss out on this because you feel like you're making a stand or you're trying to show them. You're not showing them nothing. You're just missing out on an item that otherwise you would buy most likely if it was on the shelf for $200, let's say. And all these tiers and unlockables are really bringing the price down lower and lower when you start to add all these other factors in. But if you want to miss out on it because you're not attached to it as much as others, or it just doesn't mean much to you, then totally understandable. I get it. That's okay. I just don't want anybody to miss out on something when I know at the end of the day they might regret it. That's all. But if you're not going to regret it, if you're not, then hey, That's cool. I didn't get the Galactus. I was so upset about the Sentinel and the knee situation from his legs having wobbly noodle legs. I was so upset about that. I didn't back Galactus, and I had no remorse. I see the promo pictures. I see them doing updates. I see all the figures they throw in with him. Or I'm not attached to the IP of Galactus like that. I don't really care for the character that much. So I don't feel like I miss much. So that's okay. And I understand people may feel like that about this. But for the people that's not buying it, don't shit on the people that have possibly waited their entire lives to get a HISS tank like that. For some people, the HISS tank was their favorite vehicle in all of G.I. Joe. I completely understand why they automatically backed it within the first 5 minutes. I get it. I wish it didn't have to happen within the first 8 hours or 5 minutes, but I get it. I understand, and I'm not gonna throw any shade or at those people. But guys, just don't fall for the Hasbro lies. There is overwhelmingly amounts of evidence that they don't listen, and I can do an entire video of that overwhelming evidence. Whether they say, "Oh, you complain about exclusives," and then they bring them back for sale, and they also wind up at Dollar Tree, and they wind up at Five Below, and they don't care. They don't care. People, there's just overwhelmingly amounts of evidence that they don't care, and they're not listening because their numbers are that good. And I get it. They're running a business. They're not my friend. I get it. And some people say, "Oh no, they needed to crowdfund this because of the size, because of this, because of that." Then you really, I personally feel like you really don't know what you're talking about, because they didn't. You walk down the toy aisle at Target, you see these big Jurassic Park toys. We seen the Buzz Lightyear spaceship that Mattel put out. I brought up DC Collectibles doing the Batmobile, doing the Batjet, things that were bigger in length or equal in quality and size. It had lights on it. They did not need to crowdfund this. Look at all the evidence that they did not need to crowdfund this, but I understand why they did. Cash grab, I get it. But it's clear numbers come first, and that's the way it works with capitalism. That's the way it works running a business, and I get it. I'm not complaining. I just feel bad for all the people that actually believe that they're listening, when if you look at the patterns, if you look at the writing on the wall, and if you look at a lot of the evidence, clearly they're not. They don't care. It's just all business 101. It's all been planned out. Look it up for yourself, guys. 11.4, this is just rough estimates, but $11.4 billion company. You actually believe that they don't know what's going to get good feedback, what's going to get poor feedback, what's going to make their customer base angry, what their customer base is going to be happy with? Really? $11.4 billion company? You guys actually believe that they don't know this ahead of time going into this? Come on, man. People's livelihoods are based on knowing the outcome of projections and projects and campaigns and complete livelihoods. Now, sometimes, sure, they do drop the ball. Sure, sometimes, but that is a rare off chance. And even in those sometimes, they still don't listen, or they still don't sweeten the deal too much. And I might make funny clips with some of their team members, as you guys can see here. But at the end of the day, especially these two, they have no power like that at all. They're doing their job. They're taking their orders from corporate. And it is what it is. I have nothing against Hasbro. I have nothing against these two here. Just some funny clips, just to be entertaining. But I'm sure that they're great people, and they're just doing their job. So I would never throw any shade or hate towards them. And that's how I feel about the Marvel Legends representatives. That's how I feel about any rep. They're just doing their job. I think it's pretty disgusting personally when I watch some of the live chats, or you tune into live and you see people in the comments actually talking shit about these people that are just doing their job and they're just taking orders. I think that's pretty nasty. But hey, it is what it is. I understand some people are slow, and some people are still going to comment on this and say that I hate Hasbro or I'm a hypocrite for backing it. No, I'm just not. I live in reality. I'm not going to miss out on something that I know I otherwise would get if it was around 200. I just live in reality about the situation. But if the community ever does come together and make a stand, 100%, I would be with that. But that's something that's premeditated, or it's a reaction to their action, as what happened with the Jurassic Park stuff. That is not this case, not this scenario. And I get that. It's corporate and the people that are really in power, that are really sitting behind the chairs and really sitting behind the scenes. Those are the people that are making the shitty decisions, not the representatives. Once again, to end everything off, I don't have a problem with Hasbro. I love a lot of Hasbro products. Majority of my collection is Hasbro, but I am not going to sit here and act like Hasbro needed to crowdfund this when they did not. Those are facts. They did not need to crowdfund this. This could have simply been a pre-order. And the price could have been considerably lower if it just would have been a pre-order. And it's an army building vehicle. We didn't need the lights. I'm sure people would rather those options, but maybe that'll come later down the line. Who knows? I'm looking forward to see what this last tier is. Chances are it's either going to be equal or better than the female officer, because they usually go up in quality of the unlockables, not down in the quality of unlockables. Let me know how you guys feel. I'm not here to change anybody's mind, but people keep asking me how I feel about it. This is truly how I feel about the entire situation. I love these figures, and that's what matters. We all love these figures. That's what we all have in common. Regardless if it's a line I don't collect, I love looking at or getting a nice figure. And that's what I focus on. But yo, let me know if you guys see where I'm coming from, or if you just think I'm just totally batshit crazy. Hey, that's fine too. It's just my opinion. Don't want to change anybody's mind. This is just how I feel. Yo, I hope everybody's having a good day, and I hope everybody's excited. We are living in the greatest time of action figures alive, period. We have more options with the internet than ever before. Like I always say, guys, life is short. Try to appreciate it more than you complain about it. Peace. Toy photography and army buildings, all that I need is action figures. Toy photography and army buildings, all that I need action figures. Don't buy me a thing. I told my girl that all that I need is action figures. Exclusives on my mind, so I won't stop until that figure's mine. And if you feel the same, hit like, subscribe, and stick around for action figures. G.I. Joe, classified, Marvel Legends on my mind, Valorverse and NECA time, Mythic Legions I must find.